All right, welcome back to another episode of FatChat. Now, the guest that I've got today, what a story in the NBL. So he was playing up in Cairns for the Cairns Taipans. He's just signed a big, juicy new deal with Southeast Melbourne, and he's one of the most improved and impressive players of NBL 23. And I cannot wait to get into everything about his career and everything performance-related and how he's got to where he is today. Please welcome Ben Ayre.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, mate. Super excited to have you, bro. So how's the off-season been?
Yeah, it's been good. Been good so far. Bit of change has come, obviously moving back down from Cairns back to Melbourne.
Yep.
And just been kind of getting into things with Sandringham and NBL 1.
Great. And the season's going pretty well, hey?
Season's going well so far. Great group of guys. Great coaching staff with Dave and Reese.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been great so far. Pretty smooth.
That's good.
Winning games, and then on a personal side, just been working out, getting my routine back.
Excellent.
With some of my individual coaches.
Yes, which is exactly what I want to speak to you a little bit later on in the pod, which I'm super interested because your season last year, you improved amazingly. So we're going to go sort of order, but just to sum it up a little bit, you're a development player at one club, switched over to another one. You were just a training player. You got a small little window of opportunity and you really grasped that and then just took off last year. It must have been amazing for you.
Yeah, it was amazing. Somewhat unexpected. Obviously you always got belief in yourself and expecting that to happen at some point, but until it really happens, you never really know when that time's coming. So
of course,
it's been great ever since, and just kept in stride.
Absolutely. So let's go right back and we'll work our way forward. So do you want to tell us a little bit about where you grew up, your family, and maybe how you got into basketball?
Yeah, man. Grew up in McKinnon.
Yep.
East Bentley area, or McKinnon area, and got 3 older siblings. So I got 2 older sisters and an older brother.
Yep.
All 3 of them played basketball.
Great.
Played for McKinnon Basketball Association. Growing up, my parents were pretty involved in the club as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I kind of just followed in the footsteps of my siblings, all playing. My brother played at a pretty high level as well.
Yep.
My sisters both as well were both really good juniors.
So just followed them early on?
Followed them early on, man. But obviously in the backyard, my brother's playing basketball. Me and him are playing one-on-one every day. Just kind of getting beat up, putting the rim down, dunking on each other.
Yeah,
all that
nice.
Stuff. Just the regular backyard stories with your older brother. And then obviously I played for McKinnon. I used to go to a lot of Big V games at the time, which is State League or NBL 1, equivalent to that now.
Yep.
And that's when my brother was playing pretty high level basketball then. I kind of just fell in love with the game and the high level game, I think, and just kind of knew from a young age that this is what I wanted to do, and I kind of got obsessed with it. And
absolutely.
And
went
from there.
Was there an actual point where, whether it be you made a certain team, or was there a game that really stood out for you, junior days, that you were this is it, where you had that moment where you're this is what I want to do forever?
I would probably say, I don't think it's a specific game. I think probably in my mind, we used to have at McKinnon, we had this coach, and he had this this ball handling drill, which was it was kind of a famous thing within the club, and it was all the older kids. It was a time thing, so it was you had to complete it in 30 minutes, and then it kind of become this thing where everyone was trying to cut that time down. It was 23 minutes, blah blah blah. And from a young age, I was just very obsessed with getting that time. Yeah. So I think probably in my mind early on, it was that drill really was a thing where I was just going at it.
That just had that just ticked over that competitive mindset for you.
Yeah, always. And had to beat older guys. And then I kind of that's kind of where my ball handling from a young age just kind of started from.
Yep.
And I think from that moment on, it was once I realized I could kind of do that, and I seen the improvement in the ball handling every single day from such a young age too.
Yep.
I started it just kind of grew, and then that coach kind of went away, and then it just stuck with me. I never really left it.
For sure. And then where do you reckon that sort of drive and motivation came to you from such a young age? Was it just the competitive side of it with your brothers and that sort of thing growing up, or?
Yeah, I think being a younger sibling helped.
Yeah.
And also just with my brother being around, I always used to go and play with him and his mates. So it's I'm always the younger guy. I felt I was always, even now,
which just raises your, level.
Yeah, I just feel like I've always was playing around older guys, and it just helps. Like, it helps you play better. Even now, it's like when you play with a higher level of talent, you just tend to play better. So I feel like I was just always in that mode from a young age, and I think that's just kind of helped. And then we can probably talk about it in depth later. But like once I met Joey, right?
Yep.
When I was like probably 13, he kind of just the same thing happened. Like I just was around older guys. I was around NBL guys. And Joey at the time was still kind of like playing pickup and one-on-one and all that sort of stuff. So again, it was just like another level of like, just opened up another world to me of like trash talk and like
absolutely
all that sort of stuff.
Because I hear that you love talking as well.
I do love to talk, and that's where that came from. Really, is Joey. Like that's the kind of American style of basketball and trash talk. And
well, tell us about that. Tell us about how that came about.
Man, well. Yeah, about the trash talking.
Oh well, just about the story about Joey and how.
Well, so with Joey was first I met him at 5 Star. There's a camp called 5 Star, which is like really at the time was really big in America, and they brought it out to Australia, and like they were bringing American coaches over, like high school coaches, college coaches, and then Joey was a part of that. At the time, he was the head coach of the Gold Coast Blaze.
Yep. And just for anybody that just backtracking on that, Joey Wright, gun NBL coach. He coached, Adelaide for many years, and he's like a ruthless coach as well.
Coach, yeah. But also great guy. But I think he's third winningest coach in NBL history. I want to say. So he ended up being there. I went to the camp. It was like a 5-day camp, like 9 till 5 or 9 till 3, which
right. Huge day.
Today you wouldn't see a camp like that anymore in the school holidays. Anyway, so I went there probably within like the second day or the first or second day. I can't remember what it was. We were doing like a ball handling drill, and I think that's when Joey kind of like noticed me being like somewhat talented in that area. And then we just got talking, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, the next day he was like, just meet me in the gym at 6 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, like whatever. So I get there like 6 a.m. and Joey's like just sitting there waiting for me. And we just go through like a whole workout, like an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, like so 6 till like 7:30.
Like before, yeah.
Yeah, this is before.
Before the camp,
yeah. Before the camp. And then we just like sat around, talked, and then like the camp starts, and then we go through the day. And then we ended up doing that for the next like 3-4 days of the camp. And so I really got to know Joey then, and he also just really helped me with my game and just kind of taught me how to actually work out. Like I think these days, or I think just in general, like as a kid, it's you don't really know how to work out. Like you just watch YouTube and then go into the backyard and kind of mimic these things, but you don't actually know how to work out or like get better at a drill. So Joey kind of just put that in my mind, which I appreciate him for so much, and like just gave me ideas and this and that, and then I can take that home and then I can go work on myself. I can build on that. Anyway, so then from there, Joey, I ended up going up to Gold Coast. He was just like, in the school holidays, he's like, just.
So what year were you, or how old were you at this stage? I would have been
14.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I'm a late bloomer in terms of like physically. So I was tiny, man. Like tiny. Don't even know if I had hair under my armpits. Like I was seriously that small and like just skinny. And then Joey had me come up to Gold Coast in the school holidays. And my brother actually came with me. We just went up, got a hotel. And I didn't actually train with the guys, but like
you went to the center and
I was there. I like jumped in on some scrimmages, but at the end of the trainings, Joey, like the development players who were there, and like some of the coaches, me, my brother, and maybe some other kind of random guys that got in, Joey like had us stay back and we played pickup, like 5-on-5 full court. The coaches are playing, like
Holy
the assistant
shit.
coaches, like Pero Cameron was there.
How sick is that when you're like, 14?
Yeah, it was sick. I think a lot of it was too for me just to like get a run in and like just play with older guys. And but the biggest thing from that is like I'm the only one on the court not talking trash at the time. Like Joey's going at me, like so a lot of things I can't say. You know what I mean? Like he's just getting a bucket, like telling me how he's gonna score me. Like I'm gonna back you down. Turn around, right shoulder fade, boom, glass. And he's doing it like in my face. I'm like, damn, like I don't know what I'm supposed to do, And it just got to the point where, and then the next guy, he's coming down picking on me, like the DP who at the time, like I'm 14, this guy's probably 20, 21, 22, like just killing me. And they're all just going at me, like talking trash the whole time.
Take no prisoners.
Yeah, no prisoners at all. So now I'm in an environment where if I'm not talking trash, I'm the odd one out. It's kind of weird.
It's funny how there's like those little bits in your career or life or whatever you end up doing that is so significant. Even that's just a little bit,
so
but that actually in terms of your development and everything, really significant. Huh?
Yeah, massive. And I don't know, that kind of just put a switch in me after that. Was like, I can see how, whether it was Joey or whether it was like Pero Cameron was a big trash talker too.
Yep.
Like they can kind of just get in this zone when they are talking trash, or like it just gives you a competitive edge sometimes. And from that point onwards, like I went back to Melbourne, was playing, and like now I'm playing like, you know, under like bottom age under 16s Friday night at McKinnon, and I'm talking trash. You know what I mean? And it's like it was very frowned upon. Like,
yes.
And still to this day in Australia, I feel like it's pretty frowned upon. Like I don't necessarily get a good reception when I talk trash.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like now, because I've done it for so long, and obviously I went to America and went to college, and that helped me a lot, because in America, like that's just normal.
That's
like,
just how it goes.
That's just how they are, especially junior college, especially like there's a lot of trash talk that's going on. But I don't know. I think for me now, because I've done it, like I said, I've done it so much and talked so much trash pretty much, like it puts me at a competitive advantage every time, because a lot of guys don't know how to react to it, or catches them off guard or whatever. So now they're just thinking about me, you know, like, like this dude's talking trash, or this dude's doing this. Like
it's like another element to the game for you as well. Another game that you're playing, not just the actual physical
100%.
game.
And like I'm so comfortable in that environment of going back and forth with someone that it's just, I feel like they're now at a disadvantage and I'm at an advantage. Like, my game goes to another level and their game goes down. So if we're head to head and we're playing, we're having a good game, if I can kind of get in this guy's head, and I'm not really doing it to like personally attack someone or do anything like that. Like it's literally just so that my game elevates.
Yep.
And most of the time their game goes down.
Yeah, great.
Because like they're just thinking about me, you know?
Exactly what we said. It's just another level to actually playing the game, not just, you know, put the
Exactly.
ball in the hoop.
And I think for me, like I'm never normally the first one that says anything, but I am also like searching. I'm waiting
for the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm waiting for someone to maybe say something, or to just like a really small thing. Like even recently, we were down in Mount Gambier.
Yeah.
For NBL 1. I think I had 40. Oh, I had 39.
Nice.
But like the crowd, someone in the crowd just like said the smallest thing. I can't remember what they said, but like for me, I was just like done. Like that's it. It's raps. Like, and now I'm talking trash to like the coach on the bench. I'm talking trash to like the whole baseline, the whole sideline. But like for me, that's just like environment I love, and I also feel like it's entertaining. You
Absolutely,
know?
yeah.
So like, even though that crowd hated me, like the Gambia crowd ended up like booing me, and I think I went to Geelong earlier in the year, same thing, crowds booing me. Like I do have people after the games from the other team in the crowd like come up to me and just be like, hey, like that was really fun. Like that was cool, you know, that was entertaining. And like that's what I enjoy. Like I like hearing
putting
that
on a
feedback.
show as well. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not trying to be a dick. Like I'm not trying to be an asshole to anyone.
So on that, because you're not like, you know, like attacking people, what's like, what do you go for? Like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about are you telling them what you're going to do? As in like your next move, or are you saying you can't guard me? Do you have little one-liners? What do you do?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of like, you can't guard me, this and that. But I really like the ones when it's like, I'm telling you what I'm going to do, you know? I think probably at the NBL level, it's harder to do that because, I mean, the guys are just way far better, you know?
Yep.
And I'm still in that stage where I'm trying to like prove myself and like create what style of player I want to be and just compete at a super high level. But in NBL 1, yeah, it's probably more like that, or in pickup, I'm probably more like telling you what I'm going to do and try and get you that way. But also just, yeah, like a lot of you can't guard me, a lot of like, I don't really know.
Just a little ticky-tack stuff. Yeah,
ticky-tack stuff. Yeah, fun stuff, but also just things about their game, you know, like just telling them what they can't do.
Have you got any from the NBL from the season just gone?
Trash talk?
Yeah, any examples?
Probably some I can't say in the NBL. Some of them were a little bit personal in the NBL. I mean, from me, like in terms of like, if I'll get it back more in the NBL, like a lot of imports would just say like, you know, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. But in saying that, like when they come over here, to me, it's like more people in the crowd know who I am than you are.
Yep.
So like a lot of that, I'll just tell them that back, or I don't know. Some guys will just tell them they're ugly, like if they really are, you know.
That's bottom of the barrel stuff.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit too personal. You know?
Oh, that's awesome,
but
bro.
yeah, just stuff like that. Yeah.
So then, in your career, when was kind of the turning point that you went, I could maybe be pro here? Was there an opportunity with a certain team? You went over to college as well. Was there one moment that you were like, I can actually make a professional career out of this?
I think I always thought, like, I kind of never really had a plan B. So like from a young age, even like the day I went to college was kind of like, this is what I really want to do.
Where did you play in college?
I went to Skagit Valley, which is like a small junior college in Washington. And then I transferred to a Division II school in Kansas called Newman, which again, small school. Both of them were, very small schools and not really a traditional pathway in college. But in saying on that, I would say that the benefit of doing that for me was that I was always playing. Like I played 30 minutes a game in junior college and I played 30 minutes a game in D2. It was a starting point guard, junior college, starting point guard, D2. Whereas some guys seek to go to the biggest school.
And then get less
and
minutes,
then you just sit on the bench and then like the coach is yelling at you. And it's just like,
and you're not getting any better because you're not getting that
game
better experience.
Yeah, and you're not playing, and it becomes really easy just to be like, stuff this, because like I got a coach yelling at me all week, and then I go to the game and I don't play. It's like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of guys kind of quit, and like understandably, because that sounds terrible. Like I would hate to do that too. I'd hate to get yelled at and then not go and not play. Whereas at least I'm still getting yelled at. It's cute, like that's college, but at least I can go play, you know, and. Pardon me. At least I can go work on my game and just gain that experience. So yeah,
absolutely. And then, so how was your college career? And then how did that end up bringing you back to Australia after that?
College career was great. You know, it was really, like I just said, I played. I was always playing. Off court, I loved it. Met some great people. Some of my best friends are still over in America. And yeah, I was just able to play, which I loved. Every day, and junior college was a real experience. You know, it's tough. You really got to grind it out.
Yep.
Not much given to you. You don't get like all the gear, fancy gear, all that. Like you don't have coaches coming in praising you all the time. No one's sitting, like you go play and there's 8 people in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like it's hard. It's difficult, and kind of have days where you're like, what am I doing? Like this is not leading to anything. No one's watching this.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. All that sort of stuff. So JUCO's tough, but I think a lot of those habits and a lot of that mindset that I built in junior college has benefited me amazingly now, and kind of gives me an advantage now, I think, over some guys who probably didn't go down that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably had like just a big Division I out of high school, like, hey, here's a scholarship. And then same with Division II, man. Like Division II is very similar to junior college in the fact that like you don't have the same funding. So a lot of the stuff's just like, go get it yourself. You don't have the fancy gear, fancy gym, fancy all that. Like it's just show up and play basketball, which is kind of what I love anyway to do. Like that's all I'm there for. So that's all that matters.
Absolutely. And then how'd you end up getting back to Australia after that?
And then after that, I stayed in touch with Joey kind of the whole time, and Joey was head coach at Adelaide. And he brought me back as a development player. And then, that was kind of like my into the NBL.
Yep.
But in saying that, like that was just 1 year and then I was done. Like we didn't play. I don't even know if I played a single minute in a regular season game that year.
Yep.
So yeah, that was my into the NBL, but then I was out
pretty quickly. Yeah. So then how did that like conversation go when you were out, and when that happened? Because obviously you've got a pretty good relationship with Joey, right? And this is your first sort of professional part of your experience of your career. What was that like when you got told that, oh no, we don't have a spot for you? What were you thinking?
Well, I actually never got told. So Joey got fired. Well, Joey got fired.
That was the year he got fired.
Yeah, so Joey got fired, and then I just never heard from anyone at the club.
Oh,
to be honest.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I bet they're trying to look back at the contracts, go, hang on, can we get him back?
I mean, maybe, but I never heard from anyone. And
wow.
It was also COVID, like it just hit. Not that that's really an excuse, but just never heard from anyone. So I was just, in my mind, I was just kind of like, whoa, if like Joey's the one that brought me in, he's not there. So probably is what it is, you know, like 1 year. It's a DP is normally just a 1 year contract anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And then whilst you're DP during that year, because obviously you're not getting time on court, what was that kind of feeling like for you as well? Were you thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? Or were you still really enjoying that experience? Or
I did. I really did enjoy that experience. I think
just tough.
It is tough, but that was my first being a part of a pro team experience, I think. And going back to your question earlier, I don't think I answered about the first, like, a moment where you thought you were going to be pro. Like, I'd obviously always had the belief and thought, like, I want to go pro. I'm going to be a pro one day. But, like, you never really know what that's going to look like.
What the route is,
or how that is. And obviously for me, it was very untraditional. But I think early on in that Adelaide year, like, really gave me, like, belief. Like, I had a lot of guys around me in that team that had been in the NBL for a long time that were like, bro, like, you're going to play in the NBL one day, or, like, you're good enough to play right now. Like, maybe you should play these minutes, that minutes. Like, in the preseason when I was playing, and, like, I was playing a lot at practice. We actually had a trip. We went to the Philippines as a team. And I just had, like, a really good trip. We had, like, the younger guys, like the rest of our DPs, plus some of the young guys from the team. We played against, like, a younger Filipino team over there who were, like, pretty highly.
Yeah, the Philippines
scouted.
love basketball.
Oh, man.
I think they're talking about that they may be looking to do another team, because they used to have the Singapore Slingers in the NBL. I think they're trying to do that maybe again that day.
I would love that. Yeah, Philippines was amazing. It was one of my favorite trips I've ever done, like basketball trips. Yeah. Just mad about basketball. But we played the national team, Filipino national team. That was the first Australian team that had gone back to the Philippines since the fight.
Yes.
When we had the fight.
That was hectic, yeah.
That was hectic, yeah. But it was like a shutout game. No one. It was only VIP people allowed in the game. But anyway, when we went to that trip, I had a really good trip and played really well. Played a little bit against the national team. And yeah, I just felt comfortable. I was kind of like, and more so hearing feedback from people like your peers that are already in the league or have been in the league for a long time. And just they're telling you,
exactly, affirming that,
and they're telling you, like, bro, you can really do this. You can really find a way. And in my mind, and Joey from get go with everyone, like all the other DPs we had, was just like, you guys are legit, and just always putting confidence in us. So from that moment, I think I really was like, I can really do this in the NBL, you know, at a high level.
So was it frustrating hearing all that and then not getting more actual minutes and everything in the season? And then even more so, like, when Adelaide just don't call you back to, you know, follow up and still make you part of the roster. Was that frustrating because you know that you were, you know, feeling like you could really compete at that level?
Yeah. It's a little bit frustrating, but I think it was more, I'm just so focused on, like, especially at the time too, I was just so focused on just getting better, like, at basketball, and, like, just the journey of basketball and the journey that I was on. Like, I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew something, you know, I knew it was going to happen.
It was going to happen at some point.
I knew I was going to break through, and, like, I just focused so much on, like, my day to day and just working out. And that was the good thing about that group that I had. There was 4 development players on that team, which is quite a lot for a team to have. But it was me, Alex Majonra, Bijan Johnson, and Michael Harris. Harris plays for Perth now. BJ has been, like, on the cusp of the NBL and probably should be in the NBL for a long time. And Alex has been in the league for a long time as well. So, like, those three guys that I had around me were, like, some of the most talented young guys in Australia. And the 4 of us all together were just, like, in the gym every day working out. And it was just, I don't know, we kind of created this group where it just didn't really matter that we weren't playing. And, like, we were just getting so much better, having so much fun in the mornings in our workouts that, I don't know, it just kind of took the focus off, like, why am I not playing? Why am I not
the pressure of actually, being
and the journey. I think the journey that we had that year, just, like, I kind of just fell in love with the process of just kind of getting better every day.
Which is so important to actually, you know, being a success in whatever field that you want to do. It's just enjoying the process of it rather than the outcome.
Big time. I think that's the focus, like, always. And I think once you kind of let go of being so hyper focused on, like, a dream or a goal, once you kind of let go of that and just come back to, like, why am I actually doing this, or what's the process to getting there, and then just focus on that process, like, your day to day, get better at this, or, like, this is this is a gap I have in my game. How can I get better at this? And if your mind is just fully focused on those things and just actually enjoying it, I think like the end goal is eventually going to happen. So I kind of worked that out probably that year. And I kind of knew I wasn't really going to play pretty early on. So it was just kind of like focusing on that and the process of it. And I just ended up falling in love with it even more. And then that was kind of the way for me to get through that year. And like looking back on it, still, like, I don't think I ever really was like frustrated, you know, that I wasn't playing. So.
Yeah, no, I love it. And then what did that transition period from 36ers and how'd you end up at Cairns?
So
tell us about that situation there.
So in between there, I went to, it was COVID. So I came back, it was COVID. Like COVID hit like 3 weeks after I got back from Adelaide. Mm-hmm. I was playing I'd signed with Knox in NBL 1. And that was kind of going to be like, that was supposed to be like the off season where it's like, so you've been a DP, like you've obviously done some good things in the NBL, but now go back to the NBL 1 and like you're going to have a bigger responsibility and you're going to play a lot. And it's like you try and progress and then hopefully try and get an NBL contract the next year or whatever. So that's kind of like in my mind, like what I'm thinking of doing. And then COVID happened. And then that season with Knox was just like on and off. It was like cancelled. Games were getting cancelled left, right, and center. So it was just like really weird. And then I think they just ended up wiping it out altogether this season at some point. And that's when I went to Lithuania. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, I need to keep playing pro. Or like, I just want to keep, you know, I want to keep playing
another
basketball.
Opportunity,
yeah. And it's like, the NBL's happening because like they're in a bubble now in like Brisbane or wherever they were. But like the season's still going on. And like, I'm now out of the league. Like I'm not a DP. I'm not a training player because you can't really be a training player with COVID happening.
Yep.
They can't be bringing guys in. So now I'm just like completely out of the league. And the NBL very much is like, it's very, you have to be in front of people all the time. And like, it's just hard to break into that bubble. Like It's really, really hard. So in my mind, I'm like, damn, like that's just kind of like my opportunity pass. You know, I've been in it once. It's probably gonna be really hard to get back into it. So then I kind of just switched my focus to like, let me just see if I can kind of start my European career, you know what I mean? Or like go over to Europe and try and build my way up in Europe basically. And Brock Modem, who...
Yes, he played for the Boomers. He's injured. I saw him in Japan play.
He's in Japan at the moment. Yeah, most recently he was in Japan, but like has been in Europe for a very long time. Came back to the NBL for a little bit. That's where actually...
Played for the Sixers, eh?
Yeah, that's where I met him. So that was before I went to college. I was just like, again, I was just up there like kind of training with them. And Brock was there. You know, he came back for like 6 months or whatever and averaged like 22 and 14 and was like best big man in the league. Which is, it's just crazy to me the amount of attention that Brock doesn't get in Australia. Like for being one of the best basketball players we've had probably ever. Like no one talks about him or even like his European career has like been so impressive. But anyway, so I'm like really close with him and he kind of just ended up putting me onto like an old agent of his when he used to play in Lithuania, and got in contact with him. And then he kind of just, it came around like a second division contract in Lithuania, the LKO, which is actually a really tough league to play in.
What's Lithuania?
Sorry, the LKO is the first division. I played in the NKO. Hey,
is it hectic?
Lithuania?
Yeah.
Like basketball or the country?
Everything.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it probably hectic's probably not the right word because it is very like slow paced. There's not heaps of people around.
Yeah. But just how different?
Man, so different, you know, so different. Just like it was cold, gloomy. Just like kind of apartment buildings is like where everyone lives.
That looks the same.
Yeah, it all looks the same, just boxes and like not many people outside because it's so cold.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was in a city called Majic, which is like tiny and like kind of a bit rural, so that didn't help. But it was just Lithuania was just a completely different experience. But again, another one of those experiences where you go over, no one speaks English. Like I'm living by myself in this hotel room. Like you just walk to practice, walk back. It's still COVID, so there's still a lot of like uncertainty even in their country. And yeah, it's just another one of those moments like similar to JUCO, if not probably or not, if not, way harder than JUCO, way more difficult. But again, just you learn so many different things being there. One, mainly about myself, you know, just so much time by yourself. And like, again, I think to this day, like those things that I learned and those situations I was put in, like, are the reason why to this day or the reason why today I am who I am, and like play the way I play and have that chip on the shoulder, stuff like that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then how did it end up that you were coming back to Oz?
Then I came back, I came back like a little bit early from Lithuania. Came back, I was in Australia for like the summer in Melbourne. And then that's when I was kind of just living in Melbourne, and like I didn't really know. Basketball kind of was like I was working out every day, like, because I just, again, like back to the process, like that's just all I knew what to do. Like wake up in the morning, like that's my purpose, you know what I mean? Like wake up in the morning, I go lift, I go train, like I go play basketball. You know, like that's just what I was doing every single day, trying to get better. And it gave me a purpose to like wake up and do things. And but it kind of came in my mind. I was like, I need to go do something else, you know, like this is probably not
going to be the
hard pill to swallow, you know. Even talking about it now, it's so weird to think that I was in that mindset of like, maybe basketball's just going to have to be, you know, a second thing. Like maybe I can make like 10, 15K in NBL 1 and just have another job, you know, just go do something else. Or, and then probably like last second, man, Joey actually called me and was like I just spoke to Adam Ford, and like they're like, would you go up there and be a training player? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I'm going to like go up there and do this whole thing again for like no money and like move my life up to Cairns. I just didn't really know if I just didn't think I wanted to do it, you know? So I actually told, the first thing I told Joey was, nah. I was like, I don't think I want to do it, man, at all. And then I kind of sat on it for like 2-3 days, and then came back to him, and I was just like, again, in my mind, I'm like, I'm just going to go up there. I'm just going to,
see what happens.
It's going to give me a space. I wasn't even thinking playing at all. Like not one bit. I'm like, I'm going to go to like some nice weather. It's going to give me a space of like a court every day, an environment where I can actually it's normal to play basketball every day and be around like-minded guys. And like, so be it. Let's just go up there, enjoy it. I'll get a job. I'll just work a little job on the side. And let's just like work out every day, train. I literally wasn't thinking, not one time did it cross my mind, yeah, you're going to play, like ever. Wow. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll go up there. I got a job. I was working probably like, I wasn't working like heavy. I was probably working like, I don't know, maybe 3 hours a day, 3-4 hours a day in the afternoon. So I'd go.
Where were you working?
Go to train. I was working at a, I forget what the company's name is called.
Sounds like you really loved the job.
But yeah, it was like I used to go to like out to schools and do like after school care stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
And just like work with like youth, basically. I actually did really enjoy it. It was cool. But I just forget the company's name now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was doing that in the afternoon, and then I was just training every day. And then I actually got injured. Like, actually funny, I do have a good story about that. In the early stages of the year, Scott Machado, who got injured, I want to say he did his ankle or something like that, and he was out for quite a while. And there was another training player there with me, and 40 ended up, like after one, we had a film session upstairs, and then after the film session, he's like, Ben and Robbie, the other training player, he's like, you guys just stay up here. So everyone went downstairs, and then he's like, I'm just going to like, you guys are going to play pretty much are going to play one-on-one to see who I'm going to bring up.
To fill the spot.
Yeah, to fill the spot. Which is a wild situation. So I'm like, what?
Just battled to the death pretty much. Like, you put two guys, oh my God, wow.
Crazy. But at the same time, great. Like, I love that. Like, that's a cool situation, you know? It's just like the better man, like best player is going to, you know?
Take it
whoever
out.
wins type thing. I don't know if like that was actually the plan, like in his mind. Like I'm sure he probably knew which person he wanted to bring up already, but like that environment of like a bit of tension and like competitiveness.
Put some pressure on it. Yeah.
Yeah, 40's really good at creating those environments.
Yep.
And I love those environments too. They're like in the moment when it's you, it's really tough because it's like it is tense and you're like, holy shit, like it's like do or die right now on a 1-on-1 at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like you don't think about that, but it's a cool environment and it's an environment that creates success, I think, and I know 40 thinks that too. So yeah, like literally that day we after that we just roll downstairs and we're like pretty much straight into a 1-on-1, which was like crazy. Yeah,
that's
like it was a situational one where like the offensive guy starts at half court, other guy starts on the wing, and like you come meet and then you're playing like downhill ones and you do like 5 spots first to like 3 at each thing, blah blah blah. Yeah, and like one of the assistant coaches is like initiating the drill and 40's over there just sitting on the sideline watching, and like the whole team's on the other end like warming up, but they're watching, so it's like it's a pretty tense environment.
And they're probably going, what the fuck's going on over there?
Yeah, like what's going on? And then the other guy, Robbie, he was actually he's very nice. Like he can hoop for sure. And like early on, like he's busting my ass. And on top of that, Robbie talks a lot of trash. So now Robbie starts talking shit to me. And I'm like, damn, man. Like we're playing 1-on-1 right now and he's talking shit. And then it's funny because once he started talking shit,
it's when it flicked.
Bro, it just turned me up like so much. And then I ended up winning that drill, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was like moving in that direction where I was going to play. And then the next day, it might have even been that day, but I want to say it's the next day, me and Keanu were doing a 1-on-1 rebounding drill.
Yep.
And Keanu's like knee just like crashes into my knee and I fractured my knee. Oh. Yeah. So I'm out. No. So like now I'm out for like 3 months. So Machado's out for 2 months. And now I'm out. Probably going to come up and play. Yeah, now I'm out for 3 months. I remember that training too. My knee, my knee like blew up. But then I remember 40 putting me like on the team that I was going to play. Like once you can get the vibe that like, all right, you're in this group, so you're probably going to play. So we're going through offenses and like 5-0 doing this. And he's like, they're like preparing me to play. And my knee, I can't fucking run, man. But I'm like trying. I didn't tell anyone. I'm just sitting there and I'm like running,
pushing through.
But my knee's fractured.
A fractured kneecap.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, nah, it'll be nothing. Like I'll be fine. Like I'm actually gonna play. And then after, like I have to go get it checked out. And like obviously once you stop playing,
that's when it blows up.
Yeah, it was just, and then they're like, yeah, your knee's fucked. And I'm like, oh. So then I didn't even play. So that was early in the year. They kind of gave me the option. They're like, you can go home and rehab, or you can just, you can go home if you want. I was like, nah, like there's no, like, I'm here, so I might as well stay. Stayed and rehabbed for 3 months and all that, and like just sat there, watched training, and then I eventually came back, and then I was just back in that same mode of like, you're just a training player, so you're just playing, just showing up, training, like barely even training, and then at the end of the year, Scott ended up getting hurt again, and then that's when the
opportunity came
that's
up.
when they were kind of like, first they told me, nah, we're not going to be able to play you, because they couldn't really figure it out. Situational wise, like
in terms of like number of games that you need,
and like financially and this and that, and like how many guys you can bring up, and like because they'd already brought Robbie up earlier in the year, so it's like I don't know if you can bring another replacement guy. It was a lot of stuff that I had no idea about. So they told me like we're not going to be able to play you, and I was like that's cool. And then like I want to say like a week later, they're like, all right, we've figured it out. I think Big Zim, who was another import for us, he ended up having like a bad back or something, so he didn't play the last 8 games of the year, and they're like, we can fit you in now, and then all right, then that's when
it happened.
Yeah, that's when everything kind of started.
So then take me to that. So like you're a training player, you're about to get an opportunity, you do the injury, you get back, you're training well. There's another opportunity. Tell us about the first NBL game that just went nuts for you.
First we went down to Tassie.
Yeah.
So we got down to Tasmania. We played against New Zealand in Tassie because New Zealand were they weren't playing in New Zealand that year.
Yep.
So there was no crowd in Tassie, playing New Zealand. I didn't play the whole game. And then I want to say I played the last like 4 minutes or something like that. Mm-hmm. Funny story about that game actually, because I hadn't scored a bucket yet. And 40 was kind of like joking around. A few of the guys were actually joking around with me like, at practice, like when you ever going to score your first bucket, blah, 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 that. Yeah. I ended up shooting I got a free throw at the end of that game, but then in my mind, I'm like, free throw doesn't really count as a bucket, like it's not a big bucket. Anyway, they were like New Zealand will up like 10 and they're pressing like with 20 seconds to go. I think I threw a turnover and it kind of just pissed me off. I'm like, why are you guys pressing? You know, blah, blah, blah. And then they pressed again with like 10 seconds to go. And in basketball, 10 seconds to go, up 10, like you're supposed to just dribble it out. Yeah. But like they're pressing. They're in a full court press. I beat the press. And then like I dribbled in to like go lay it in because they're still playing defense and the guy just kind of gave out. So I just like looped around, didn't dribble it, didn't shoot it, dribbled back to the top of the key, and then on the buzzer I was just like, man, fuck it, and just shot it. It shot a 3, and it went in. So
beautiful.
That's my first bucket.
So
but then the coach for New Zealand, Dan Shamir, was pissed.
Really?
Pissed. Didn't even shake any of our hands. Didn't
what?
40, no one. He just walked off. Ugh. He was just pissed off because you're supposed to like, you're supposed to dribble it out. But like in my mind, I'm like, man, fuck it, like whatever. Like,
first bucket, get it off.
I don't care. Man. Shoot this shit. But that was funny. And then so coming back from Tassie, was it? I'm pretty sure when we were coming back from Tassie, we had a layover in Brisbane. In the layover, 40 came up to me and was like, he's like, hey man, I'm gonna start you.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, what? He told me, yeah, I'm gonna.
That shooting in the last second was real good. You're on the team. Yeah.
No, he's like, fuck it, man. I'm gonna start you. Like at that point, like I don't think we could have made playoffs. We weren't really playing for much, you know. Like there was not much going on, and I think probably in 40's mind, and like props to him, you know, it's just like fuck it, I'm just gonna give you a chance, which was sick. It was amazing. So now, but then like he tells me that, and then we got another flight to Cairns. Back to Cairns. So the whole time on the flight,
freaking out, going, oh my god,
I wasn't freaking out. I was like, holy shit, is this real? Like I'm about to start an NBL game, and it was against Melbourne United at home, like back up at Cairns. And he's like, you're just gonna go head to head with Delhi, basically. We'll let you go with Delhi. So then, fast forward to that game. Pretty much all he said was like, I just want you to just dog Delhi the whole game. Like just be a pest, just be annoying from the get go, full court, everything. So like from the tip off. From the tip, like they win the tip, and I just like fucking V-line straight for Delhi, man. Like, and Delhi's got the ball, and I'm just like hacking him the whole way up the court in the first. Like, I'm trying to foul him. Yeah. And the refs just didn't call a foul.
And you're like, great.
Yeah, fuck it. So then
this is the
kind
game.
of set the tone for the whole game. I didn't have like a crazy game. I want to say I had like maybe like six or something, like 6 and 4. Pretty sure we lost. Then we went to Perth. Had a good game in Perth as well, but like, that was just crazy playing in Perth, like RSC Arena.
Really sick game.
Sick, man. Super sick. Again, we lost. And then the next game after that, that's when we went to Melbourne. And then the Melbourne game was when
it went off.
Yeah, when I had 20 and 10. And then same kind of thing, like just had to just dog Delhi the whole game. But like offensively, things just like went better for me. But again, we lost the game. Like we weren't winning at the time. But
that was that breakout game for, that's so sick. So then once you had that game where you've got the 2010, what was that feeling like for you after all the shit that you've just, you know, been through with the training play, the injuries, making the most of opportunities, the long road, these little glimpses to, you know, make your mark. What was that like when everything's finally going in?
It was great, you know. It was kind of like the things you work for, and like it just really felt like it's just kind of affirming like everything I've always thought about myself, like that I can be in this league, that I can have big games in this league and be a presence and like even be effective like as a starter, as a bench guy, whatever it is. Like I think it just gave me like
the confidence.
Yeah, just a mad amount of like I already had the belief that I could do this, but you never truly believe it until you kind of do it and see it and feel it. So kind of from that moment on, it just gave me a crazy sense of confidence and that I really am this guy that I believe I am, you know? And that was probably the biggest thing from that. Like, I don't think I really ever had a moment of like, holy, like this is the craziest thing ever, because I think I've been picturing that moment for so long that like when you picture it so much, it feels real. So then when it happens, it's like, yes, it's amazing and it's crazy, but I think more so for people.
I feel like you've already been there, yeah.
I feel like I've already been there. I think it was more cool for me that moment, like seeing my family and like family and friends, and like it was probably more shocking to them than it was for me. So that was probably the cooler moment of that whole thing happening, was like just seeing how happy my family was for me and friends and stuff like that. Yeah.
So being a massive part of FatChat, we talk everything performance and how you actually got to being into the position that you are now. So, I mean, you've touched on it with all the opportunities, you know, making the most of those little windows that you've had all throughout your career and falling in love with the process of actually playing basketball. I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into that. So let's start off. There's so many parts to it. There's, I guess, your actual physical training, there's your skills work, there's recovery, and there's sort of mindset and, you know, sports psych about it. So let's maybe start with like the physical training. What do you kind of do on like a regular basis this year, the last few years, that's really helped you improve in terms of gym work and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, for me, it's been physically for me, it's been a long journey. Like, mentioned earlier, like I was always very like skinny growing up. Still am like pretty skinny, but have added like a lot of strength over the years. Been very lucky, man, to have a lot of great coaches and great minds around me. And most recently, my strength coach, Josh Keeley, who's works down at Sixth Principal. Yep. I met him earlier in my story when I was talking about when I came back from Adelaide and I had signed with Knox. He was just like the strength coach for Knox, which is like, it's not really normal for NBL 1 team to have a strength coach. So just like amazing that I was able to meet him through that. Yep. And I've been kind of working with him now for almost 3 or 4 years, probably say 3 years. And he's just kind of taken my body, I think, to another level that I didn't really know I could reach. More so like, I think in terms of like fluid movement. I don't know what that word is, but
just your movement patterns. And
I think, and obviously strength as well, and just kind of like mind body connection and just making sure that I'm kind of elite on the court. But I work with Josh right now, working with him like 4 times a week. Yep. So pretty much
being like, the off season, so you're doing a little bit more.
Yeah, doing more. I had like a shoulder injury in Cairns, so I came back. I was rehabbing that. Yep. And he's pretty much fixed it within like 2 months, which is crazy. But yeah, so Josh has been amazing for me. Worked with him, like I said, for about 3 years. Before I went up to Cairns was when I worked with him probably the most. Yep. And that was when I found I had the biggest development in my body. Just a lot of like functional movement, I think. I'm not great at like the technical terms, but
so what you're doing, is it kind of like, so you're lifting weights obviously, or you're working on power stuff, or using body weight, or a little bit of a combination of everything?
Combination. So I think the new thing that he introduced me was like power work. So a lot of like med ball, like side toss. Just a lot of med ball stuff that I'd never really done before. And then on top of that, just like heavy strength training. So normally it would be like pretty like functional, dynamic warm up. And then into like power stuff. And then after that, just like my strength stuff. So, and I always used to train.
And was the goal to just increase your strength, or you're trying to put a little bit more size on as well, or a little bit of both, or are you sort of happy with the weight and everything that you're at?
I think for me, I was always, before I met Josh, I was always about, because I was a smaller frame, I was just always in this mindset of like, just gain size. Like I just want to get bigger, need to put on size. And I don't think it was now looking back on it, like it never really was benefiting me, because I would often do like Monday, like chest, Tuesday legs, Wednesday, like shoulders and thighs or whatever, you know? So I'm training, like I wasn't necessarily training like an athlete or a basketball player. I was more training like a guy trying to add strength. I don't know, like a power lifter or something like that. Yeah. And then once I kind of met Josh and started training with him, I kind of just got that out of my mind of like, I don't need to have a big chest, or I don't need to like, you know, I don't really need to be adding all this size. Like if I can play basketball at a super high level and be great on the court, then it doesn't matter what size I like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what I look like.
I think about the performance of the,
I think I was just always thinking like aesthetically, like I got to look bigger so people think I'm strong, you know? Yep.
Which definitely, like the how somebody's body looks is not a indication of how fit they are, how athletic, how fast they are, anything like that.
Definitely.
It's so much more about what you can actually do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Performance.
Definitely. But I think also that was the feedback I was always getting as a young guy, was like, or trying to be in the pro, become a pro, it's like you got to put on more size, or like right now you're too small.
Yep.
So like that just created that mindset of like I need to get bigger, I need to do this. But once that kind of went out the door for me, I actually ended up putting more size on anyway. So the goal with Josh was never like add size. It was more just like let's add strength, like let's just become stronger, but like let's become stronger in these specific movements. So like defensively, like you're in a stand, you know what I mean? Like you're in a squat kind of, and you got to be functional and dynamic in that. So like let's work on that. So whether it's like like holding a landmine. Is it a landmine? Yeah.
Yeah, like kettlebell or resistance band work.
Yeah, and just moving in like...
Or landmine, yeah, so like the torsionator.
Yeah, but like holding it, like low and like being in a stance and like moving side to side. So it's like now I'm actually becoming... Josh just really made me strong in basketball movements, basically. And like from that point onwards, I just kind of like... I feel like my game just evolved heaps from there. But again, that was like probably before I went to Cairns, probably a good 4 to 5 months of like 5 days a week.
Hitting that hard.
Yep. 5 days a week, Saturday morning waking up, and that's like my off day, but I'm going in doing cardio and getting like maybe an extra upper session in, and take Sunday off. But like that's the only day I'm taking off, you know what I mean?
For sure. So that's unreal about the physical training side of things. So let's go into like the skill side of basketball and being on court and what that looks like for you. So at the moment, is there any coaches that you're working with currently? And has there been any point in your career that you were maybe given some feedback of going, look, Ben, you need to work on this? And then what did you actually go out and do?
So right now I'm working... And again, probably the same time period of when I met Josh around COVID. I also met Jono Hansen.
I had him on the podcast the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
He's a gun.
Yeah, Jono's mad. So I met Jono around like COVID time as well. Started working out with him. But again, before that, like I knew how to work out mainly because of Joey. Had like taught me kind of like the skeleton of working out and what a workout looks like. But I also was like journaling like workouts every day. Like I'm putting my own workouts together. Like whether it's through YouTube, like watching YouTube, and just doing my own research on workouts. But it's always different when you have someone else watching, when you have someone else
it's another perspective and it's also like, more accountability and just that little bit of extra motivation and drive and probably a little bit of competitive stuff as well when you're working
and I
with
think
someone.
you have I have an idea of what I want to get better at, but that might not always be true because like you said, a different perspective. So Jono just kind of, Jono really gave me just a different look at like what my workouts were, and different idea and just he has a different basketball mind, and me and him have a really good connection, and I see the game one way, he sees the game another way, but it is very similar, but there obviously are differences, and that's why I like working with him so much because we're able to communicate what we both want. Like I can communicate to him what I want to work on, and he'll go and he can go and put a workout together that is
designed for that.
But then at the same time, he adds his own flavor to it, and that's where like I see progression in my game. And I think finer details with Jono has like been a really big thing for me. Like I've always been really good at putting my own workouts together and
working hard
and doing drills and this and that and ball handling drills. And like I can get my ball handling better, but I can't necessarily see tiny details on like my jump shot or like where my balance is when I take, when I'm stepping back. Is my balance like, am I heavy through my left foot, heavy through my right foot, which may make me off balance on a jump shot. Like Jono sees all these things, and he's able to give me that live feedback whilst I'm working out. And then I can feel it in my body, make the adjustment. And then in games, when I feel these things happening, I now know like, okay, this is what I need to do.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Or like my shot's left because I am heavy through my left foot, or, my floater's off because, I'm like flicking my wrist too much.
You can just identify those little cues for yourself.
Yeah, big time. So Jono's been massive for me for that. And like we'll continue. Again, Josh and Jono are two guys who I met at pretty much a very similar time in my life and kind of took my career to another level. So
for sure. And then what sort of reps in a session are you doing? So for example, if you're working on like a dribble move into a shot, or you're working on some shooting, whatever it might be, how many reps do you do? Like, are you doing like 50 shots here? Do you do, 20 of this type of move? How does that actually work?
It would depend on the workout. So if it's like a high volume, say we're going in high volume reps for shots, like I might try and get up like 400 to 500 in a session,
wow.
which is a decent amount. I mean, say 500 takes, so not necessarily makes, but like 500 shots on a high volume session. And then after that, if we're working on a move, we're not necessarily like repping out like 50 of like a floater or this or that. It's more just like trying to get in a flow, get in a rhythm. Once I kind of feel like I've got it, it's kind of like let's
move on.
Leave it there. Yep. Yeah, just because I think if you rep it out sometimes too many times and you start to miss, like you might make the first 10, but if you make the first 10 and leave it there, sometimes like mentally you can be like, man, I got that. Like, you know, that's a shot I can make every day. I just made 10 in a row, blah, blah, blah. And then I might come back the next day or 2 days later, work on it again, do the same thing. But in my mind, like those perfect reps and those 10 perfect reps, that's good for me sometimes.
Yep.
If you start to rep out 50 and now I'm missing or I'm getting tired, and then you can
just
like
because you're trying to get the number. Yeah.
Yeah. Your form may change because you're getting fatigued, this and that. Now you're missing, and now like maybe some doubt might flip into your mind. Like, yeah, I can make that shot, but when I'm tired, I'm not really making it, you know? So then in a game, I'm maybe overthinking. So I think there's a fine balance between like high volume and then actually let's just like perfect the move in terms of like what my body looks like, and like the form of the shot. And then once we've got that, like let's just rep it out a couple of times until you feel comfortable, and then let's move on to the next thing, or maybe just move on to the next side, or blah blah blah, or the next move.
In terms of actual improvement that you've seen with like your shots, in terms of like percentage and actual improvement, what's been the difference since working with Jono and working a little bit more off the court yourself?
I think, man, the biggest thing, honestly, nothing too, again, like finer details with Jono. There are a lot of things that I've kind of manipulated in my shot, but like if you're just looking at my jump shot, I don't think you're going to be like, oh, he's changed this. Like you can't really tell. It's more kind of like in like I said before, like I might have more weight through the left side of my body.
Yep.
So it's like just finding a center
just
balance.
Shifting that a little bit.
Yeah. So like you're not going to see that with your eyes watching me, but like Jono can see that. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I think just confidence has been the biggest thing for me that has changed. Like I just kind of since those games when we were talking about earlier, when I had bigger games in the NBL and all that, everything off the court now has just been like, every time I work out, my mindset is just like, I really am, like, I'm the best, you know what I mean? Like I'm training right now to be the best point guard in the world, not like in Australia or not. I really am trying to be the best point guard in the world right now at whatever that looks like and whatever that leads to. Like that's just really the way I train. So I think my confidence from that, just like I just end up making more shots because that's what I'm like thinking about. You know, I've really felt that that's changed, like my mindset and in the way that I work out and the way I approach my workouts. It's like I'm really preparing right now. Like after this, I actually am going to go work out with Jono.
Yep.
And like when I get there, like it'll be like, you know, we'll chop it up and be like, this is what we're going to do to work out, this is what we're going to do. And then it'll just be like, I'll just flip my mind, you know, like I'm really here right now. I'll just be very present in this workout. And like, why am I working out? Like, I really am working out to become the best player. So like, and I feel that way. Like I feel like I am when I'm working out, I feel like I'm the best player, best point guard. And it's just like, it kind of is, as I've felt that reflection in my workouts. Yeah. Like I felt like I make more shots. I feel more fluid in my game. My handle feels better. Yep. All just from my mind. So I would say that's the biggest thing that's changed.
Absolutely. And then going a little bit even deeper into the mindset side of things and sort of the sports psych of, playing professional sports. So that's been, you just touched on all those things there. Was there a point where that kind of changed for you a little bit where or has that always been your mentality all the way through? It's been pretty consistent, or was there something that really changed it? is there any actual like tools and techniques that you're actively using? You just mentioned, trying to be really present when you're training and playing.
I think it's always, there definitely was a change. I want to say that I always had that mindset of like, I'm the best, I'm this, I'm that. But there's always, I think growing up and even through the earlier stages of my professional career when I was trying to work everything out, there's always doubt, you know what I mean? And I think now there's no doubt ever. So I think that's what's changed. Like I always used to tell myself, I'm trying to be the best, and you always want to say that. But I think in the back of my mind, it's like, I just always had this little voice of like, nah, like maybe you're not, or maybe this, maybe that. Whereas I don't have that at all anymore. Like it's just like 100% belief.
And is that just from putting in the work, putting in the reps, you reckon, just from that experience?
Putting in the work, but also going into the mindset stuff, like putting in the work into my mind and putting, whether it's, there is a lot of things I do. So first I kind of started pretty heavily when I went to Lithuania.
Yep.
Like I got into like breath work.
Yep.
Probably like a easy way that a lot of people get into breath work is like through Wim Hof.
Yep.
Just like started doing Wim Hof stuff in the app.
I've been doing the Calm app, which is how super similar. It's got like the breathing stuff, meditation stuff.
Yeah.
Works awesome.
Yeah, I've heard great things about the Calm app. And then I'm not going to get into this, but like I have a big interest in like UFC and like MMA. So I follow a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
And they're just massive in like mindset, preparation. Like their preparation is second to none. Like in terms of any athlete in the world, I think they're the most prepared guys mentally, physically. Like they have to be, otherwise they're probably going to die. Like literally going to die. But then, so from there, I just kind of like took different things from different athletes that I heard about.
So who are some of the ones that you've taken little bits from?
Sean O'Malley is like probably the most common. A lot of people would know him, but his coach, Tim Welsh, is a guy who I like follow on socials, and like YouTube and stuff like that. But there's this app called XPT, which is Laird Hamilton, surfer. And he has, it's a breathing app. And I use that every morning, every day, like breathing, whether it's, I do it to start my day as like a preparation. And then like, if I go work out, most workouts, not normally for basketball, but normally for a lift, I'll do like a pre warm up. It might be like 3 minutes. And it just kind of gets my mind, and it just gets me in the right way. I think breathing is like an amazing tool to like access your mind and like kind of manipulate it put it into what
you want it to,
where you want it to be, where your focus is. So XPT is an app that I've used now for probably like 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I've also I've been big in meditation. So first, meditation for me used to be just like mindfulness. I used an app. I forgot what the app's called. But I used to use one app that I had, but now I've kind of moved into a meditation called TM, which is Transcendental Meditation. And a family member of mine put me onto that. And then I learned it you have to go through like a course, but I learned that in Cairns when I was up in Cairns recently. And TM basically is just like 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. And yeah, I think that meditation's helped me a lot in terms of like my calmness and like readiness, my just any moment I'm in. So whether it's like a workout or whether it's like you and me here having a conversation, I feel far more present. Like I feel like my mind's not elsewhere.
It's in the room,
which has always been a big problem for me. Like, and I think that helps a lot going back to like performance. Or tying that back into performance and mindset stuff. Like if you are working out, it's very easy, especially these days with our phones, like attention span is something that like gets away from us, and we all probably have very quick, like we just want to move on to the next thing. But if you're in a 90-minute workout and you're 25 minutes in and now you're thinking like
about something else.
Or you just want to move on.
You're not getting the most out of that workout.
You're not at all. Like even if you are physically there and you are physically going through the drills, if you're not really like thinking, like mind, body and like connection and why is this doing, like you're just not going to get the same amount out of it as someone like me who's focusing on it. So now if I'm doing a 90-minute workout and the next dude's doing a 90-minute workout, I'm
getting a better workout.
I am, it's just those small 1% things. I think that once you get to a higher level and want to keep getting better and better, those are the things that
make a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So whether it's like for me, breathing, meditation, just being present in workouts, all those things, they may seem like small minor things, and like maybe on the day to day you might not see them, you know,
Improvement.
Yeah. But I think over like 12 months,
You stack that up. Yeah.
you stack it up. Yeah, it works. And I think for me, I think for people who probably don't believe in those things or think that those are minor things, I think my kind of journey and my kind of the last, 12 months of my life is like a testament to those things, because I do those things every day, and things have gone from pretty bad to pretty good, you know, and quickly, but like they didn't happen just like that. Like
it's all those habits that you've been building.
Yeah.
And exactly on that habits, you actually touched on it real early on. I was going to make sure I loop back to it. So what does like your daily habits look like? Because like you said, you've been doing, your breath work, you train, all these things that you've been stacking those little 1%ers on every single day that are just part of the rhythm and the things that you do now. What does like a day look like for you in terms of your habits?
Well, morning first, like start with just like morning routine.
Yep.
And my morning routine, sometimes it can vary. I used to be really, really strict with it. In terms of like wake up this first, that first, this first, like next, which it used to be like I'd wake up, like cold shower.
Did the cold out, you were right into it.
Yeah. Like wake up, cold shower, like straight into like a journal, straight into breathing, then my meditation.
You're doing a lot of work in the wellness space. It's good, man.
Yeah, it's a lot, but that also can sometimes be, and it did for me, get detrimental, because it's like if I woke up and that morning I just wasn't feeling a journal. I didn't feel like doing it. If I didn't do it, now in my mind I'm like, like I didn't do it. It might eat away at me all day, but like realistically, it's not a big deal. Like if I still did my cold shower and I still did my meditation. But like if I missed one of them, it used to kill me. And I used to think like I didn't, like my day is not going to be the same. And thankfully, actually, through Cairns, I met this lady called Jody. But I met Jody, she's a mindset coach, and she was like a psychologist for us pretty much at Cairns. And me and her just got on really well, like talking about all these things. And to this day, I still talk to her every day. Oh, not every day. I talk to her as much as I can in the off season. And she kind of put that on me. It was like, I feel like you're carrying too much with your daily habits. Like, I feel like you're sometimes not, like less is more sometimes, So since that and meeting Jody and having that relationship with her, she kind of taught me just to not necessarily live and die by these morning habits or these morning routines. If you miss one of them, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. You're probably doing more than 99% of the population anyway. But still, there's that 1%. I gotta beat that guy, man. But yeah, so now at the moment, right now, it's still very similar. So I wake up, cold shower, do my meditation. My journaling's kind of like been on and off. I don't know. Do you journal at all?
I've done, honestly, the journaling for me, I'm on Insta that much on my stories. So it's almost like I journal my day through video form, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which actually has been like, on reflecting on stuff for me, I was like, yeah, that's actually a part of my journaling,
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
So like video journaling kind of?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
My journaling has been like up and down. I feel better when I do it, but I feel like I suck at writing. So I just get in my own mind about that.
Yeah.
But I'll still journal occasionally. I'll read, and then I'll do my meditation, and then I make a coffee. Do you know what AeroPress is?
Yep.
Yeah, so I make an AeroPress. That's like it's almost like meditation in itself for me, like making a coffee.
That.
Man, I love it, bro. I love it so much. And then that's kind of the morning for my habits, and then I'll go do my workout, and then I'll go lift, and then normally in the afternoon or after the lift, I'll try and get like a sauna and ice in as much as I can. I'm very lucky at Six Principle. They've got sauna and ice.
All that stuff there.
Yeah, which is great. And then nighttime, I'm not great. I'm honestly not great habits in nighttime. Like I would love to like read before I went to bed, or I would love to.
But you just had that big, full of activity day, and you've been pretty on it the whole day. So that's just your time just to switch off and actually recharge mentally for that next one, I guess.
For sure. But that's when I just like probably just scroll my phone a little bit. That's when I get into that.
Yeah, nice.
Those habits.
No, you got to do that. You got to switch the mind off at some point.
You definitely do, yeah. And it's just chill, it's calming. I'll probably watch a TV show or something like that at night. Great. Yeah, that's kind of how it is.
So then leading into this year, you've just signed with Southeast. How excited are you for this NBL season coming up?
Super excited, man.
Back in Melbourne, all your family and friends will be coming every game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, super excited to be at Southeast. So far, just meeting everyone down there has been great. But it's also just a new territory for me again in terms of like, now I've kind of been in the NBL for a year or two. And now I'm moving, which is like weird that I'll be moving this early in my career.
Yep.
But yeah, again, super exciting. And just, I think change is always, it's cool.
Sounds like change has always brought you really good opportunities every time that you've moved.
It has. But I got to be careful that you don't get so obsessed with change, and that change is the driver for improvement. You know what I mean? Like I got to be careful that doesn't become a thing for me. But hopefully, I'm like long term down here with Southeast, and just can kind of really build a brand down here and build with this team too. I think we've got a really good team put together.
Definitely.
Great group of guys. I know a few of them personally already. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just really exciting. And not only is it a change for me, I think it's change for their club.
Yep.
A change for a lot of the guys in the team. Like a lot of guys have come from different teams coming in. So it'd just be really exciting to see like what we can build and just like the environment and the culture that you can build there. It's really exciting when you can be a part of like a new thing.
The build, yeah.
Yeah, and the
hard stuff.
The hard stuff, yeah, for sure. And you can kind of bring a piece of you and your personality and your like traits and habits, and you bring everyone's together, and you can kind of create this cool thing. And I think with Mike Kelly at the head of the snake, and he's just like an awesome guy so far that I've been around him, and I think he's just going to lead us and point us in the right direction. So
absolutely.
Cool.
And your biggest fan is Corey Homicide Williams, who I just had on the couch a couple of days ago. Yeah. It must be good, like getting just a little bit of extra press from Corey, hey?
It is good.
He's been loving it because your story is great. I mean, like, just hearing all that today, you just go, fuck, that is just consistent hard work, just getting it done, just rocking up, just making sure you're doing those daily 1% things. And that crosses over not just into like a sporting sense, but into whatever passion or whatever it is in anybody's life, they can really go, oh wow, look at that, I can achieve that because Ben's done that. So it must be good to get that sort of recognition from someone like him as well.
It is. It's really cool. And like I don't know Corey personally.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. I bet he is. I don't know him like personally, which kind of makes it cool. You know what I mean? Like it's not like someone doing a favor for me or like he knows me from previous. I think he like truly. I feel like he truly believes what he's saying, and like he's very appreciative and probably sees the similarity in my journey probably to his journey,
just grinding it out. Yeah.
Just grinding it out. And even what he's done post-career has been amazing, how much success he's had in the media space, and I'm sure will continue to have.
Definitely.
But yeah, again, I think I mentioned it earlier, like it's hard to continually grow in this space in like the sporting world and like the new media world that we live in. It's hard. It's really hard to grow in that space if you're not always in it and you don't have someone kind of like
boosting that
talking
platform.
about you. Yeah. And man, Corey's been great for me. And I promised everyone I have never asked him to do it. But yeah, he's cool, man. He's super cool. And,
that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, I look forward to, obviously chopping it up and meeting with him.
Absolutely, bro. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming down and chatting to me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, your story and your journey is super inspirational, and there's so much there that I know that so many people that are listening to this podcast are going to take a heap away from. So thank you so much. Good luck with the year, and I'll see you over at RAC Arena. I'll be in red though, but I'll have a smile. I'll make sure I've got a bed air jumper underneath.
Okay, I'm going to get you a jersey. Thank you, my man.